Armored Core lore. What if Rayleonard had won the Lynx War? Having spoken about the lore of Armored Core a lot, I thought this week I would try my hand at something new, diving into what if scenarios of the Armored Core series. I would like to start this what if video series off with the question of what if Rayleonard had won the Lynx War? To start, I think it's best to say that at this point Rayleonard became involved in the Lynx War after BFF was cut down. They were already on the back foot. This is shown by their heavy-handed attacks together with Akvavit. As a newer corporation compared to the rest, they had little allies and a lot less resources on hand than their foes, GA and Rosenthal. I say these two as Omea's science at this time had their nose bloodied by the combined might of Rayleonard and Akvavit, leading them to call in Joshua O'Brien. So let's start answering this, shall we? As there are two ways to look at this, depending on who kills Anatolia's mercenary. The first being the one-on-one with Anju. With the defeat of Anatolia's mercenary here, this leaves GA in a very bad position, being as Anatolia's mercenary was their key player within this war. This also leaves Rayleonard with another lynx still on the field, and while she works solo, this works out better for their overall plan to eradicate all corporations before they enact the close plan. It would not be a stretch to suggest Anju would take great joy in taking down any remaining corporation next who she drew to her. And that list is not very long, as with Anatolia's mercenary gone, there is not a lot of links left. To put this into a visual list, we have Omea's science with Celio and Palmet, Joshua, and perhaps an in-training of Stava, Rizaya, and Cube. For Rosenthal, we have Gerald and Dario, but again, these may be in training or not even found yet. So only Lynx would remain at this point before he goes to battle the combined next forces of Rayleonard and Akvavit. Aldra only has Jan, Arisawa Heavy Industries has Warcry and Takafumi. Again, he is only a possible, as the parts needed to create Raiden, his armored core, will not be seen until years later. This does mean we could have had a completely different Raiden design, perhaps using GA bazooka arms and heavy legs. Technocrat has no links to offer. The now destroyed Bernard and Felix Foundation had two links on the run, Icarus and Wang Xiaolong, but we can speculate about them later on where they go. Iqbal has Shiv, KK, and Nadizia. Leo Mechanica has Ea Pool, Katsumi Sumika, and Sarah Angelica, who would be captured for a time during the Lynx War before being freed. Meliaz would only have Stiletto. GA would only have Enrico, Rhodey, and May Greenfield. Again, May is up for debate as she may have not been discovered yet or still in training. Finally, this leaves Rayleonard and Akvavit. In this what-if scenario with Zani, Pidam, Shinkai, Berlioz, Anju, Unseal, and Tepez V. With all this now known, since Rosenthal was the corporation to offer Straight the mission to deal with the Rayleonard Elite Next squad, it would make sense that Joshua would be next in line for the job, since no corporation really wanted to throw their own necks into a battle. However, no matter who is sent, the results would be a win for Rayleonard, with the death of both Leonhardt, Midu, and another Lynx, be it Joshua or even Celio. This weakens Omea's science and Rosenthal even more. In fact, it leaves Rosenthal with no active Lynx, and Omea's science down again depending on who they send in. However, I think Omea is not one to throw all their eggs into one basket, so I imagine Joshua will be the one to fool here, leaving them with Celio and Palmet. This is not taking into account future next pilots for both corporations, as it's very possible they will be forced into action early, if there was a next ready for them, which I would say is highly unlikely due to the sheer costs of next, and if there was some, they would not be the ones we see them piloting in Armored Core for answer. Still, it's with this victory that Berlioz' crew of elite Nexts would move on to carry out the closed plan, with Andrew hunting down more Nexts. With Omiya Science, Rosenthal, and GA now weak, the combined might of the Lynx alone would be enough to take the fight to them. However, with no skilled Lynx on their side, Rosenthal would put pressure on Omiya Science to act, forcing Omiya to call in support from Iqbal, who sends out their remaining 3 Lynx to aid the cause, with Omiya Science sending out one of their own. This leads to another next-on-next battle between the elite Rayleonard Nex and Omiya and Iqbal Nex, as Rayleonard keeps the pressure on, going after the headquarters of the other corporations. Again, we cannot count out Anju here, who may not be with the elite group, but is still hunting Lynx. This also brings up the remaining 2 BFF Nexts, Icarus and Wang Xiaolong. While Icarus is a rogue element, as it is possible the Lynx simply goes into hiding, Wang Xiaolong is a different story, being one who has always wanted the BFF to stand above all. I believe he would side with Rayleonard, as they seem to be the winning side. They are the best outcome to help BFF again, as the other corporations are crumbling. So this would add another Lynx to their side. As for GA, in a state of panic after their top Lynx has fallen, they call up all their Lynx and go into a defensive style of combat, as now with little Lynx numbers, this would allow Leo Mechanica alone or with Melias to attack. Call it revenge for the Robert Meyer bridge battle, or the chance to expand their own ruling. This call for arms for GA would also include Arisawa Heavy Industries, while Aldra's one Lynx is again an oddball, as while they could go to grab more land, it's also possible they join Leo Mechanica, as their solo act may not last long. With all this, these are the outcomes I feel could happen. The first is the total destruction of GA, Omiya Science, Iqbal, and Rosenthal, leaving Rayleonard, Akvavit, Leo Mechanica, Melias, and Aldra as the last 4 corporations of the world. All weak from this war, the 4 call a peace, allowing them to rebuild, creating a paradox world where instead of the League, these corporations now rule this dying world. With the Interior Union still being formed, but with more land, Aldra also expanding into a more power-hungry corporation, while Rayleonard and Akvavit expands too. Peace, however, would not last, and war between the 4 would come again. The second outcome is much like the first. However, Rayleonard and Akvavit proceed with the closed plan. There is no peace, and the elite Lynx of the 2 march on, taking down the remaining corporations, polluting the world more as they do. With the fall of all corporations, Rayleonard is able to pull off its plan. However, while there is no cradles, the death toll from war is as high as if the cradles themselves had still fallen. There are other outcomes too, like Rayleonard still losing, and the combined might of GA, Iqbal, and Omiya managing to fend off the others, resulting in this creation of the League again, but Lionarch is put down much quicker. Another is an Interior Union complete victory over a tired and worn-out Rayleonard and Akvavit force. But to stay on topic, I believe the more likely outcome to this what-if question is the first suggestion, where peace is called between the remaining corporations and we get this strange new armoured core for answer, where 3 major powers battle it out against the clock of a dying world. Let me know your thoughts on the suggested outcomes. Is there any other outcomes you could see happening? And if you have any other what-if questions you would like me to have a go at answering, please do leave them in the comments.